welcome into another episode of the Delco Duo. I'm one half of the Delco Duo, Monica Cryan.
And I'm Jenna Meisner, other half of the Delco Duo. We are in a holiday weekend, so maybe you're watching somewhere that you normally wouldn't be, like
Down the shore, Delaware beaches.
I can't believe it.
At the bar.
I don't know how many bars play us.
No, I'm telling you a lot too, Jenna. I've said this. And this is the time when we aren't being heard. We are only
Well, that's what I mean. The show's nothing without our commentary. I think the whole bar needs to be quiet, and they just need to watch.
We're kind of a boring show otherwise.
Right, like if you're just looking at the screen, you're like, dressed in drabs. Who are these two buffoons? What are they doing?
Why do they do nothing other than sit in front of us?
This weather has been so disgusting. This is the most effort that I could put into this look, and I've worn it on the show before. I'm an outfit repeater, and I don't even care. I don't care.
We are notorious outfit repeaters.
And that's fine. We care about the environment.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we do it.
You got into like the fast fashion trend issue.
Yes.
You know how Monica gets. She
that?
gets like hyper focused on different things, and one of your hyper focuses recently was fast fashion.
Fast fashion. Not that I don't want to participate in fast fashion. I watched a documentary on it, and opened my eyes. I feel like I knew a little bit about it.
It's like Temu, Shein, like those sort of companies, and like the production of that stuff.
Brandy Melville.
That was surprising to me. I feel like I honestly am surprised that's still a brand. I wore that in high school, and I didn't know that people were still wearing that.
Are they?
Well, apparently, if it was in the documentary.
Yeah, but I felt like the documentary was made like a little bit ago.
Expose.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get to the debrief.
Let's do that.
So, yes, it is Memorial Day weekend. The unofficial start to summer, but You got your summer started.
And I think a nicer summer, honestly. Like a nicer start to the summer, something that felt more summery maybe than what we've been dealing with in and around the Delaware Valley.
Yeah.
So last episode, if you remember, I was sort of stressed out because we were taking this vacation for my husband's work. It was his President's Club trip, and I was just stressed out about leaving cruise. Didn't ask for us one time.
No.
And I asked my mom because my in-laws stayed with him for majority of the time, and I knew that they didn't want to put any stressor, like make me upset.
Right. So they weren't
going to tell me, and they would lie. So I asked my mom, who would straight up tell me, and she said, no, Amber and Matt really said that he hasn't asked for you guys at all.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what makes me more upset, if he was asking for me or the fact that he did not care. He lived his best life, did a fun activities all weekend, and we've got a couple pictures from my trip, and there you have it. That's like
This is beautiful.
The picture of the pina colada is the only photo that I had taken myself. Like, someone had to send me that picture of me and Tate, because that's the only picture.
Look gorgeous.
So yeah, we were in the Bahamas, and it was full on relaxation. Met a nice couple that was from Bucks County. Tate was wearing a Delco hat because I brand him, obviously. I brand him wherever we go.
It is fun when you wear Delco stuff because people will stop you. Even if they're not from Delco, people will be like, oh my gosh, I've heard of Delco.
Well, so we're talking to this couple,
all about it.
And they're like, is that like Delaware County? Like, they didn't know if it was his last name. I was like, can you imagine if our last name was Delco? How cool would that be?
Is there some people with the last name Delco?
I don't know. Maybe they
want
thought...
to meet Brad Delco.
It would be like, what's a real Delco name? It would be like
Schmitty Delco.
Schmitty's my dad's best friend's name was Schmitty. Anywho, so we're talking to them, and we're in the water at this point, and she's telling me how she was looking up the hotel before we got there, and she was like, yeah, it was crazy. I was just trying to look up like where our room was on the hotel map, and I saw in 2023 someone was attacked by a shark on a kayak right there, and they died while we're in the water. Like, you are talking the worst person.
Wait. You actually were in the water?
I was like up, it was hot.
Right.
So yeah, I was like up to my waist.
Oh.
Like I don't get too deep into the water.
Finally, we get Jenna in the water and you tell her about a shark.
Yeah, so she was like, yeah, it was really tragic. It was right there. And she was like, I don't think a shark's going to attack twice in the same spot. And the Bahamas are known for being shark-infested waters. I mean, that's like a known fact, especially at night. Have you seen the videos of when they throw... in the Bahamas when they throw the water or
TikTok
they throw the
videos?
food and then all the sharks are like,
TikTok videos?
No, it's real. Look it up. Someone email us and prove to Monica that I'm right, that Bahamian waters are shark infested, depending upon where you are. But we had a great time.
Yeah.
I didn't get in the water after that. But otherwise, weather was great.
Why?
Cruise was good. It was.
Why, Bucks County lady, did you have to go? Because I'm so proud that you got in the water. I love it.
Her name was also Jenna. So I was like, are you scared? Like, maybe it's a Jenna thing. That's why she brought it up, because she wanted me to be scared too.
But I tell you all the time, the only thing I do when I'm at the shore is I just make sure I'm not the furthest one out. And bam, you're safe.
Yeah.
As long as there's someone else out there that's further than you, you're fine.
So
that's the one the shark's gonna get.
And that's
you're
what
fine.
you'll employ this summer at the Jersey Shore. Furthest person out is the bait.
Yeah. And then you just enjoy your swim.
I also heard that yellow is like a color, like the bathing suit color, like yellow. I remember I was obsessed with Shark Week as a kid, and that stuck with me, that yellow is a color that attracts sharks.
Here's a picture.
Oh my gosh, and I'm wearing yellow. See? That's why. Luckily, that was the pool bar, and not.
No one's throwing you in there.
Oh my God. All right, let's get to our first issue. Happy to be back in the US of A.
Yes. I asked my neighbor not to have kids play in their wooded areas. My son had a tick bite that required testing not covered by our insurance. I think my neighbor should pay the bill.
All right. So clearly they stated a boundary. They asked the neighbor, if the kids are playing at your house, don't play in the wooded area.
Wait, so I asked my neighbor not to have my kids play in there?
So it's probably like, you know how your kids play at the neighbors?
Yeah.
Maybe they've got a wooded area that you might not have access to, and they asked the neighbor, like, hey, if the kids are playing outside, don't let them play in the wooded area.
Well, I think at this point, it should have been just you tell your kids, don't go and play in the wooded area.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I do think that it depends on the age. Now, my
you can't go in
3-year-old nephew, he's not going to listen. Is your 3-year-old son going to listen if you tell him not to go somewhere? So age here really matters. But if the kid was old enough to be told, like, hey, don't play in that wooded area, then it's kind of, you got to be responsible for your kid.
Yeah. You want the neighbor to pay for your child's testing? That's craziness.
This seems like it might be one of those things that's been an issue. Like, I don't think this just came out of the blue. I think this may have been an issue where the kids keep going into the woods, and, you know, you don't want to take your kids' friends away and be like, well, you can't play there anymore. But I don't know. I feel like this is something that's been building, and this obviously, like, that's scary.
Yeah.
Anytime there's any sort of tick bite, it's concerning.
Well, right. I mean, I have Joe's softball fields have woods, and a lot of the moms constantly are going over saying, no, get away from the woods, because you know it's tick season, and they're like, no, get away from the woods, get away from the woods. They're vigilant about it. Like, they do not let their kids go near
and
those
I think
woods.
that's
it's
why they're
their
saying,
responsibility. It's as you, the parent, have to be on your kids. No, do not go near those woods. It is not the neighbor's responsibility to make sure your kids are not in their woods.
I think if you're hosting the play date, you should treat all kids like they're your kids.
Well, maybe if you're hosting the play date, but if
Right,
your
like
kids are going over all the time.
Like, if I was at my neighbor's house, my neighbor's mom, she's calling the shots. She's in charge.
No,
but I don't think I wouldn't ask them to pay for it, but I would have a discussion.
Yeah, no, I'm not paying for your.
All right, coming up next, we've got an issue regarding girls' trips versus guys' trip, why one's easier to plan versus the other. We'll talk all about it.
That does remind me. Did you ever?
Yes.
It was constant. My mom would. We would take ticks off.
Ticks have gotten really scary, though. I feel like when we were kids, it was like, oh, you got a tick, let's peel it off. But now it's like, put it in the bag, bring it to the pediatrician's office, test the tick. Like, I think ticks have gotten, I don't know if things have changed. I'm not like into the tick species. But yeah, I feel like when we were kids, it was just, you dug tweezers in.
Yep.
Took it out.
And then your dad lit it on fire.
Yeah, then your dad burned it.
And you would just watch it as it like popped or something. Remember? It would like
That's
pop.
horrific, but like that's the only way to kill them.
Yeah, I know.
They're like vampires, if you think about it. Oh my gosh. They suck your blood.
Yes.
And you have to burn to kill them.
Burn it. Yeah, I think that's the original vampire.
Revelation.
Yeah, that's probably
Edward
where
Cullen.
the concept came from. Edward, a very less hot version of Edward Cullen.
More legs and uglier.
Yeah. But anyway, tick season, it was kind of fun, you know? You would go walking. We used to go explore.
Can't believe that you just said tick season's fun.
We used to go explore. We wouldn't care. Literally, it would just be like all over.
I feel like, is there spray? Like, I know there's mosquito repellent and stuff, but is there tick?
Yeah, it probably has a lot of DEET in it.
There you go, Taylor.
There again.
From our last issue, just douse your kid in DEET.
Douse your kid in DEET.
Problem solved. Just don't get it in their mouth. Okay, let's go to our next issue. This is Nia from Norwood.
Okay. How do I plan a girl's weekend? What is the trick? I've been trying to get friends to pick a weekend for months and nothing has been solidified. I get very resentful that my husband so easily finds time for weekend golf trips. I'm not even trying to get on a plane, like just a 2-hour drive. I'm ready to call it quits and take a solo trip.
Nia went in.
Nia
She,
is
like, used this as her diary, and I love that. That's what we want you to do on the Delco Duo. We want to be your diary, and then it's like if your diary could talk back to you.
Yes.
Very cool invention. I agree that we had this discussion a few episodes back. You were trying to get dinner on the books.
Like
and
a brunch
that was
dinner.
Impossible. So girls' weekends, like picking a date, I think it's the same thing. You just have to accept that not everyone's going to be able to go. You go with what the majority can do.
That's
step one. Not everyone's going to be able to get there.
And then once the majority picks a date, stick with that date, even if like someone then in the end ends up pulling out and saying, oh shoot, I actually can't make that date. Do not veer from that date. Do not veer from that weekend, because then it just ends up getting really messy. That's what I feel like we ended up doing, was when we would pick a date and we would pick a time and location, one person would always end up being like, oh shoot, I actually can't make that. And we would be like, oh, well, how about this or that? Or can we... And then it just got so messy and it fell through.
You can't do that because cost of the house you're staying at, you need to know that months in advance. You can't just pull out like if it was dinner. So we do what I suggested. We offer a couple weekends and everybody votes. And then whatever weekend gets the most vote, you're locked in for the most part. You can be a maybe. You're allowed to be a maybe, but then there comes the deadline of we're paying for the Airbnb, so you need to make your decision now if you're coming or not. And then once that's decided, you can't. Yeah. You are in this trip whether you want to be or not.
Yeah, and you kind of can't care about, in the end, who's coming and not coming. You just got to enjoy the fact that you're going. And then what's going to happen is you have to have fun on that trip, that inaugural trip that you finally got planned. And then next year, a lot of the girls will be like, that looked really fun. I definitely want to really go out of my way.
Make it a thing.
I don't care that I miss my son's one basketball game. That's why these women are not going on these girls' trips, because of the one basketball game. And it's like, I think you can miss it. I really think you're going to have years and years and years of tournaments, of plays, of dances, and this, that, and the other thing.
Guilt.
You can it is the guilt. It's the mom guilt that gets them to every single thing of their kids and nothing of their own.
I don't necessarily think it's the difference, though, with the guilt, like the parenting guilt of why husbands so easily go on these trips. Yes, you could argue that dads maybe don't feel that way, but you could also argue that they do. I think the difference of why husbands make it so easy to go on their trips is because all they have planned is the course that they're golfing on. Women put so much pressure, at least my group of friends, on the itinerary. Everything is what we're doing in the day. What is there a boat day? Are we like the planning of the actual trip versus guys who just, okay, we're going to golf here. And then we have somewhere to lay down. They don't care where they're staying. And then once they're there, they figure it out. So I think that's why guys can so easily pick up and go, because they're not planning much.
Right. And once they get to the golf course, everything's already laid out for them. Like you said, the cart girl comes around with the drinks. They don't have to plan that. The lunch is already at the golf course.
It's not a lot of planning.
And, their shopping is at the golf club. Whereas the women, it's like you need
everything
to plan the drinks
from the minute,
plan the spa. You need to plan.
Yeah.
There's too much planning. Don't make it simple. Just have one piece planned.
Just
and
get
that's
a
it.
location.
Yeah.
And nothing's wrong with a solo trip, Nia. If your friends are annoying, solo trip it is.
Or one other girl.
All right, coming up, one of our own issues. We're going to talk about it on the Delco Duo. Stay with us.
Apparently I had a stray hair. This isn't my best.
I fixed it. There's a lot of issues happening with
Our engineer wanted to come out and cut it.
cut it off. Yeah.
Thank God she fixed it.
That's what he says about everything, though. If you got a problem with your hand or your foot or your
He was
shoes,
just gonna come out and cut it off.
cut off your hand or your foot or
Eddie
easiest way to get to the problem.
is to cut it.
Well, let's talk about your issue.
Speaking.
I was gonna say.
Speaking.
This is like
Monica crying about.
there couldn't be a more perfect segue about your problem that you're going through right now.
Yes. So Sunday morning, my husband took both the kids to Joe's lacrosse game. And then he texted me and said, "Can I get the kids' haircut?" And I said, fine. We have our favorite place that we go to in Westchester for the kids' hair. It's like a kids' cut place. And I guess it was closed upon arrival. So then he just took them.
But also kids cuts, like, it is
Packed.
I was trying to think of, like, it's like a fight to the death to get in there.
No, we usually do kids' cuts
Yeah.
in, like, what is it? Springfield?
Yeah.
Broomall?
Yep.
And then other times we'll go to this place in Westchester called Cookie Cutters. Both of them.
That
Amazing.
sounds like such a cute place.
They're both so cute. They do such amazing jobs with the kids.
Because it's a different
hard.
breed. Like, you,
Hard. Yes.
hairstylists, you need to be trained in kids. I don't think any hairstylist can just cut a kid's hair.
Absolutely. So Eugene is like, well, this place, Cookie Cutters, is closed. We're going to go to wherever is open. I think it was like Hair Cuttery, Sports Clip, whatever.
Just one of the chains.
One of the chains. Oh, it was so bad. He got Bubba's hair. Look at him. Look at this haircut.
He's still so cute.
Wait, can we
but
zoom in? Is there like a way to no, can't. Okay.
We don't need to zoom in. I got the full
Are you sure?
view. And like nothing, it looks like,
This kid's a cute kid.
it looks like he's got a bowl cut.
I know,
Like, it
not
looks like
even.
he should be working in Lancaster.
I know, exactly.
That's what it looks like. And we love the Amish.
We do.
but
I love the Amish.
They're not watching us, obviously.
I actually think the Amish do a better job
but
with that hairstyle.
he could be in Lancaster.
And there's no way to style it because it's so short. So every time we try to gel it,
Right,
it
like,
just
can you,
immediately
move
goes
it to
right.
the side?
No, it just goes right back because it's so short. So I'm sad about it because, and if we didn't even get it. There's a divot on the side. Like she took a huge chunk out of the side. Why? And she said that, oh man, he keeps moving. But Eugene said,
Well, he's 3.
3.5, he was the calmest and quietest he's ever been in the chair because she put on racing. Smart. She put on racing. He loves racing right now, loves car racing. He said he was the calmest, quietest he's ever been. He just stared. And she couldn't handle it.
So when Cruz gets his haircut, I'm terrified.
I know.
Of this experience that you're having. So I get it. I understand why. And some people are like, oh, it's just a haircut. But it's going to look that way for the next several weeks until it kind of starts to fill in. I stand I might as well be doing the haircut.
Right.
I'm right there. And again, I go to a kid's place. So they're always like, Mom, they do the least. They do very little. And I'm always more, take off more. So
I wish they took off less.
Is Eugene have a hard time with confrontation? Would he not want to be like, oh my God,
no,
was
Eugene
terrible?
would never ever say anything.
Yeah.
So then when I was like, oh my gosh, hon, it's so bad, my little boy.
Why don't you just bring him to a cookie cutter?
So that's what
do
Eugene
a little boy buzz.
That's what Eugene said. He goes, you should bring him back to Cookie Cutters or to Kids Cuts. They'll fix it. And I'm like, I don't want it even shorter because I just at this point I want it to grow out.
Buzz?
No, I don't want to.
I think he's.
I love
enough.
his longer hair.
I think he's old enough for the summer buzz.
At this point I just want it to grow out. It'll grow out in 2 weeks. That's how.
I think it's gonna take long, and also it's gonna grow it's gonna grow long. But then the
Uneven
sides,
still?
you just need to go to
buzz. Give him a buzz.
You don't need to give him a buzz, but it's like a doctor. Get a second opinion. Go
Oh,
to
okay.
go to
See
Cookie Cutters. Go to Kids Cuts and be like,
What can you do for me?
Look, my nephew one time had a terrible haircut, and we still laugh about it to this day, and we still share photos in our family group chat to this day. So
it looked very
it's
similar.
It's just going to be one of those things where you're going to be like, oh my gosh, remember that terrible haircut that Bubba got? And you're going to move on.
I know it's tough, and I'm not like mad or anything about it, because I know kids' haircuts are the toughest. But why is it like those kids' places are the only places we need to be going?
And that's why the lines are so long. That's why you are fighting to get a spot, because everyone has probably had an experience. One more time.
Thank you, Shane.
One more time.
This poor kid.
He looks happy enough though. He doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
He's like, I look good.
He doesn't know there's a huge divot right here
and
of just no hair.
He feels a nice breeze.
She got real close to his scalp. I was like, what?
Maybe she was watching the racing too.
Maybe
that was the issue.
But and that's the other thing. That's my another issue. Real quick, why are the lines so long for those kids' cuts?
Because they work.
They're the only ones who know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting all day for them. God. All right, our trivia has to do with the oldest Memorial Day parade in Delco, which is Rockdale.
Yes.
So where's it start?
Where does it start? All right, the Rockdale Memorial Parade is the oldest parade in Delco for Memorial Day. Where does it start?
Let's see. In front of the Rockdale Arts Center. Nice. So that means something to the people who live close to that area, but that's wild. Historic parade in its 144th year.
Wow. That's amazing. 144 years.
And I know Memorial Day is solemn, of course, remembering Memorial, remembering those that we've lost. But the parades are just really something to take in.
Yes. Yes, there's like a little, not like a celebration about it, but a remembrance.
But just the fire trucks
to get involved,
and the flags. Like, I feel like our sons are at like a really perfect age to be in awe of all that comes with the parade.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And they have the Rockdale Memorial Day Parade. If you just Google it, they've got a website and everything. And they have videos from years past. So if you're thinking about maybe wanting to check it out and be in some sort of historic moment for its 144th year, then...
Yeah, and some of the fire trucks that they have look very historic.
Yeah.
Very old.
I wonder what they'll do next year for 145.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's not 150, but it's still, we always talk about how 5s and 0s.
Yeah, that'll be a cool one. But hopefully everybody has a safe, nice Memorial Day weekend. Weather's not all that nice, but it's still something to kick off summer.
That way. It's always weather. Is it going to be cold? Is it going to rain? Is it going to be hot? Like, we have this combo, I feel, every year with Memorial Day. So
still something to kick off the unofficial start to summer.
Oh
Here we go.
I'm ready to get
Here we go.
All right, Delco Duo at phl17.com. Your emails have us ROFLing, rolling on the floor laughing, raffling.
They are something else. We love it.
So that's where you can give us your opinions. You can say that the sharks are infesting the waters at the Bahamas. You could send us your issues, trivia. We're always looking for different trivia questions. And then, of course, on social media as well. Just reach out to us on Instagram or Facebook.
We love hearing from you. And thanks so much for joining us this week. We'll see you next week, Saturday nights at 11:30 on PHL 17.